to play around with an existing image just so you can practice getting experience building something. So I'm on my desktop. You can see I've got a JPEG here, and I'm going to go to Adobe Illustrator. I'm going to create a new file a new, and we'll make it letter sized, and we're going to make it tall or portrait. So it's on portrait, that's fine. Create. And the first thing I want to do, I'm going to close this out, is bring in my image. So File, Place. So it's on my desktop, Clean Teeth JPEG, and hit Place. So I think it lets me draw it to scale. So I'm going to draw it. I don't have to hold on Shift here. That looks good. I'm going to move it down to there. And over here in Layers, which I'm going to click on, it says layer 1. So it's similar to Photoshop. You can click on the eye to turn it off and on. I'm going to double click on layer 1 on the name and call it source. And then I'm going to double click between the name and the circle. This circle will let you select everything on a layer. So I'm going to double click on this, and it gives me my options. So the name is fine, source. The light blue just refers to, because some images might have hundreds of layers, so you can just quickly find your, well, not quickly, but it's a way to find or recognize what you need. But templates, we want to turn on template, and it says dim images to 50%, so that should be fine. Hit OK. Makes it a little paler. And now I've got this pencil with a no action sign. That means I can't do anything because the layer is locked. So it's easily fixed. I just go down to here, create a new layer, and I'm going to call it, what will we call it? I'm going to call it graphic. Okay, so first thing I'm going to make is the toothpaste tube because it's pretty easy to do. Left click, select the rectangle tool. I'm going to click. Oh, I don't want to do that. Click and drag. It's a tiny bit high, so I'm going to hover over this handle here and move it down to say there. Drag it out. And then I know it was that blue, so I can use my eyedropper and pick up that color. It's a little off, but it should be fine. The next thing here is, this is basically a rectangle, two rectangles. So I'm going to draw a rectangle. Mine's going to be a little tighter than theirs. Click, let's zoom in, and click and drag. Now if you can remember from the previous lesson, I've selected this. I'm going to hold down Shift and click both of these so they're selected. Then I can go to Window, Pathfinder, and Unite. I'm going to use my eyedropper and turn it like that. Okay, so if I wanted to, I could call it, say, toothpaste, but again, it's a pretty simple image, so it's not a big deal. Let's do the teeth. Well, the circle. Let me show you how simple the circle would be. Grab my ellipse tool, click and draw. I just started kind of randomly without thinking. If I can distort it, but if I hold on Shift, I can make it a perfect circle. But it's still not quite where it needs to be. So this kind of requires you to use more fingers, but if you hold on spacebar, you can then move it. And then when you let go of spacebar, you can continue to resize it. And I'm going to let go of everything. That's not ideal. It's all right. So it's a full circle with no stroke, I believe. Yep, you can see there. So again, I'm going to get my eyedropper, pick up that kind of tanny ochre color. Now, I don't like, it's done the opposite. It's kind of got no stroke and fill. This little icon here, you can click, and let's turn this off so we can see what it looks like. So it just needs to be thicker. So I'm going to go to Properties, Stroke is 1. Let's go and make it, that's hopefully enough. 6. And then let's look at the teeth. There's a couple of ways we can do this. I'm trying to think of the simplest way. Maybe we'll do, let's use that line segment tool. I'm going to make my, yeah, I'll stick with that color, that's fine. Click, and if I hold on shift, it should be a perfect line. It's a little too thick, so go back to properties, make it thinner. 1 point, let's do 2. If you need to do fractions, you can say select it and type in 1.5, oh, 2.5, 1.5. And then I can click here, hold on shift, go down a little bit to there. Instead of redrawing these, I can get my black arrow, select it, Command or Control C. And if you do Control or Command F or go to Edit, Paste in Front, what it's done is it's put another one on top. I'm going to hold down Shift and use my arrows to move it. I'm going to let go of Shift so I can get it into place. Then I can hold down Shift and select both of these. Command C, Command F, or Control C and Control F. Hold down Shift, move them into position. That one's a little off, so I think that was more the artist. I'm going to move that back a little bit. And then this last one, Command C, Command F. So these are all identical, so that's good. I've got my separations. I'm going to draw a rectangle, which is up here. It's a little close. I'm going to hold on spacebar. I can move it back a little bit, let go of spacebar. I don't need to hold on shift. And that's good. So I'm going to show you a quick trick here. So this is not filled, which is excellent. You might see these little circles. What this lets me do is round these circles. So I've made a kind of pill shape. So I'm going to fill this. Well, I'm going to reverse it. I'm going to double click. I know it's going to be white. And I want to get to these shapes that are underneath, and I can't right now. But all I need to do is go to Object, Arrange, Send to Back. And so I can see those. And we'll come back to this in just a minute. I think we explored it a little bit, grouping, but it's worth taking a quick detour for this. Or, you know, we'll keep going, Okay, so I'm going to draw a rectangle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's a bunch of shapes. If I want to move them all at once, I can marquee them. But say you have like 50 or 60 shapes and you're trying to select them all and you might miss one. So make your object using whatever objects you need. Then go to Object. I'm going to stop saying Object and Group. And now treats it, if I only select one, it treats them as the same thing. If I realize, you know, I hate this square, it sucks, it needs to disappear, and go to Object, Ungroup, Deselect, select it, press Delete, and then I can reselect all these, and Object and Group. So I can move these around. If I don't even want to ungroup, what I can also do is get my white arrow, and we can say choose this one here, click on it, press Delete, and these are all still grouped, so the direct selection is really nice, which is the white arrow. So that's grouping. I'm going to draw 3 more rectangles. I'm going to make them different colors. Like this one, let's make it that color. Let's make this one that color. Make this one, we'll keep it white. Okay, so I've got these 3 shapes, and maybe I want the green one to be on top. Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. And then I realized, no, you know what, it's best if it's actually behind both of these shapes. Object, Arrange, send it back. If I realize this one and this one need to be in the front, I can go to select both of them, object, arrange, bring to front. So it can be really, really useful, and that's how I was able to select these. Anyway, I'm going to select these objects. I've got Pathfinder still open, and I'm hoping this will let me, I think divide should do it. Let's see. Did it work? It may not have. I'm going to hit undo. Let's try maybe a separate. You know, we'll stick with that, and then let's see if this object on group. I may have messed this up, so I'm going to pause and continue.